Hello dear listeners, James Barnett here, creator and producer of The Night's End. Sorry to interrupt this episode, but I have a couple of community announcements. Firstly, here at The Night's End we would like to again thank our ongoing patrons for sticking with us on this journey. All of your support is greatly appreciated. We're also here to celebrate another person joining our patron community. We welcome Courtney as a Traveller Tier patron. Thank you, Courtney, for your support. If you would like to support our podcast beyond listening to it, we have 3 ways of doing it. You can join our Patreon, where we have different levels of support that offer different rewards, such as early access to episodes, exclusive episodes, and merch. In fact, we have actually just created a new loyalty tier, where every 3 months you are on that tier, you will receive a new piece of merch. Head to patreon.com/nightsendpodcast to check it out. The second way to support us is to head over to our Ko-Fi page, ko-fi.com/nightsendpodcast, where you can make a donation and shout us a coffee. A big thank you to Kath for your donation of many coffees. It will feed our insomniac selves and help us creating content for you, the listeners. Lastly, you could head over to nightsendpodcast.com/shop and pick yourself up some merch. Our final announcement today is one we are really excited about. We are holding a competition for all the artists out there. We want to see artwork inspired by The Night's End. It could be anything. A portraiture of what you think Jimmy Horrors would look like? I imagine he wouldn't be too good looking. Or it could be episode specific and relate to a certain story. Absolutely anything is fine. The competition closes on the 31st of March, and the winning entry will receive $50 US cash in a nominated PayPal account and a Night's End mug. Head to the website for details. All links for what I've spoken about here are in the show notes. Okay, enough from me. Enjoy the rest of the episode.
End.
I'll see you soon. Come on, you damn thing. Open up. It sounds like there's some sort of radio in this room. But this damn house won't let me in. Can you lend me a shoulder to bust it open? Damn. I'm not used to doors being closed to me. I miss my caves. The doors there are too scared of me to lock me out. Let's see what we can find here.
You're listening to Haunted Mansion FM. Those last 2 tracks were We're Gonna Get You by the Stalkers and Never Walk Alone in the Hallway by the Butler. One of my personal favorites. Just a couple of community announcements before we get back into it. Please stay away from the basement. A kraken has been inadvertently released after some drunken sailors opened a portal to the netherworld. Mop-up crew is expecting to have the situation under control by Sunday, in time for the Black Mass. Also, if you haven't still signed up for Torture Tuesdays, the sheet will remain up in the foyer until Sunday. Remember, torturer spots are limited, torturee numbers are not. Sign up today. Thanks a lot, listeners. Today's program was brought to you by The Darkness in the Hallways. This next track is titled Where Has My Letterbox Gone by The Stuttering Man. We'll be back right after this.
Wow, that was interesting. Maybe the butler's right. There's a lot more to this house than meets the eye. Grab the radio, friend. Maybe this story will tell us how to get out of this place. On the Air by Joachim Heijndermans. Narrated by Jess Carrier.
That was it. Daryl had had just about enough. And wouldn't you know it, the stupid melody and the empty lyrics already bouncing around in his head, which he'd have to struggle with the rest of the day to get it out of his mind, only for those bozos on the radio to play the damn thing again another 80 times before the afternoon was up. He couldn't take it anymore. That was the umpteenth time the station played Feel the Ice by Axiom, just that day alone. Daryl rolled his eyes, peering at the comments, both the blunt negative and the sickeningly positive ones that were usually one word long on the app and the boards. But that wasn't what drove him up the wall. No, stupid comments about whatever new ditty that recently dropped have been around since the days before Elvis and whatnot. No, what really ground his gears was what DJ Mike said next. Wow, what an amazing track. Just gives me goose pimples all over and chills down my spine. The host of the afternoon show laughed, tapping his fingers against the mic, along to the song's outro tune. Yeah, I got goose pimples from that rubbish myself, Daryl thought. How can he like that dreck? It's repetitive drivel that overplays its welcome within the first verse, made all the worse by the random rap added into it at the halfway point, months after its initial release. Daryl remembered clearly how the song had been panned by pretty much everyone on the street or online when it first came out. Everyone, of course, except the damn DJs on the air, who couldn't get enough of it. And now, in the 2 weeks after it first popped up, these chuckleheads were still the only ones praising it to high heaven. What a load of crock. It was simply the last straw for Daryl. He contemplated calling in to finally ask the question before, but he had never had the urge to do so as much as he did now. With final conviction, he pulled out his phone and furiously pulled up the number. The dial tone went on for about 5 minutes. Daryl thought he would have been patched through a lot quicker, since they always make calling in sound like a breeze on the air. Like calling up a friend. Hey pal, how's it going? Not much, just calling to say hi. Yeah, not on this line. For all he knew, he would be stuck behind the other 7 callers trying to get those tickets to the Ice House Revival Tour. Daryl expected he'd be on hold for an hour when he was suddenly startled by a voice.
Excite FM. You're speaking with Kay for the 2 p.m. show. Do you have a question for Mike?
A woman's voice suddenly blared into his ear at a much louder volume than the dial tone had been. Yeah, this is Daryl, and he said, hesitating for no longer than a heartbeat before he lied. I'd like to ask Mike a question about the Bowie sample and Axiom's Feel the Ice.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Mike would be open to that. He loves Feel the Ice. Please hold.
Kay said. Daryl struggled to hold his groan in. No one in their right mind would ever admit to liking that track in public, but he was close to getting through. After the praise the show had showered on Axiom's last album, Daryl knew that calling in about them was the best way onto the show. Kay returned on the line a minute later.
You'll be on the 3rd spot. Try to keep any responses brief as we cut to commercial after spot 4. Got that?
Yeah, I got it.
And please, turn your radio down. The feedback will cause that weird echo sound that everyone hates.
Right, Daryl muttered, doing as asked. He then waited diligently, hearing the program through the phone only. After the last ads ended, the show started back up, with DJ Mike Simone's excitedly running down the new tracks that had just been on the air prior to the break, followed by a summary of the new releases he'd play later on during the second half of his show. Then came the call-in segment, which started with a college student asking the name of the band that did the speed metal funk mix Circumvent, which was Days of Rage, naturally. Then a woman who asked if Mike had any hope about Shay returning to her old position as lead singer for Gamera Chimera. Mike feels both Shay's earlier work as her current solo work are equally exciting and trending new grounds, which Daryl and a select number of users on the app did not agree with in the slightest. Daryl's turn came up, and he was mentally preparing himself for what he was about to start up live on the air in front of a massive audience. Mike introduced him.
Next up, we have Daryl, who I believe has a question about Axiom and their hit song Feel the Ice. Daryl, you're on the air with DJ Mike. Go ahead.
Hi Mike, longtime listener and big massive music fan here, and I actually have a totally different question I want to ask you instead.
Oh?
Mike laughed, unfazed by the sudden turn as far as Daryl could tell from his voice. He wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't the first caller to throw the host a curveball.
How can I help then?
My question was about you and your colleagues, and something I noticed a while back. You guys play a lot of music, with a huge variety of tracks and genres, but ever since you launched your opinion app, I began to notice something that I know a number of people will agree with me, which is something I've struggled with trying to understand. So I figured I'd just call and ask.
And what's that, Daryl?
Why do you guys seem to like every song you play? No, not just like. Why does it always sound like you unequivocally love them? You gush over every new track that comes your way, even when the listeners complain about them in masses. Mike laughed, though less assuredly this time around, with a tone of discomfort masked as politeness in his voice as he replied,
Daryl, we don't like every song. That'd be ridiculous. There's plenty of tracks we don't care for at all.
Great. Like, which ones? DJ Mike exhaled, a puff of air just barely missing the mic in front of him.
Too many to count, brother.
Oh yeah? Daryl huffed. Then what's your take on Manatee by Blixer Blix? Without skipping a beat, Mike answered,
Love it. Such a great sound and a cool riff.
Then what about SNDNFR's Kill the System?
That one's really pushing the crew into a new direction, changing how we'll look at R&B for years to come.
Daryl looked at the app, with a slew of commenters either agreeing with him, making emoji-based reactions to the track he threw at Mike, or a combination of the two. Queens, Rain Must Fall?
Underappreciated,
Mike said. Take Me to Church by Hoser.
That's a bona fide classic, if I may say so.
Westlife Lovin' by Harmony Coates.
Very fresh.
Every track on Chinese Democracy.
Gems, each and every one of them.
Mike stuttered with great stress, as if he fought to push the words out of his mouth. Daryl sighed loudly. Mike, you haven't said one negative thing yet about any of the titles I mentioned, and pretty much everyone I know hates at least one of them. Are there any songs you don't like? A pause of dead air, broken only by the royalty-free background music, came over the line. Then the silence broke.
I know, Kay. I want to answer it. I understand that my colleagues and I might seem overly positive.
Look, I'm not trying to bust your chops here. If it's a contract or a sponsor thing, I get it. But I think we, the listeners, deserve some honesty once in a while, even if it's a simple critique. I mean, you guys claim you're serious music fans. Mike's voice shifted from defensive to panicked anger.
Hey man, we are serious about the music we play.
So you actually seriously like Feel the Ice? As in, you really legitimately enjoy it? Mike muttered. He then gasped, startled at his own lackluster response, as if he'd just let a deep buried secret out into the open.
No, wait. That wasn't an opinion. I didn't say anything. No, please.
He shrieked, cut off instantly, as if he had been plucked away from his booth. Mike? Daryl asked. Mike? You okay? He grew worried. Kay? Is Mike all right? He asked. The soft sound of a woman sobbing could be heard on the radio, but no real reply came. Then, as sudden as Mike had vanished from the conversation, Daryl's connection was cut off. Dial tone that droned on into nothing filled the dead silence. He quickly turned the radio back up. There was nothing on but a commercial for tires, starring a mother and a daughter that ended in a lame pun. Daryl always felt it would be funny if the daughter would say, "This is why Daddy drinks," as a response to the mom's weak joke. No mic, no music, no show. Then Daryl's phone chimed. Unknown number. Despite his misgivings, he answered. Hello?
Do not call in again on this program or any radio show on this network.
3 voices, one a man's, one of a woman's, and a third some gargled combination of both, said on the other line.
When you tune in, you will listen to what we play. You will like it. You do not complain. You will not share your opinions on the app. You will not instigate others to speak out. Call in again and you will have nixed 2 lives instead of just 1. Are we clear on this?
Daryl instinctively nodded.
You're on the phone, smart guy. Nodding is pointless, even if we can see you.
Daryl's eyes darted wide open, looking around for any sign of a camera or some kind of a drone. Finding none, How can they see me, he thought. But even if the how was a mystery, he knew that them watching him was no lie. From out of every corner of his small studio, he could feel watchful eyes locked on him, possibly even peering through his phone. He wanted to say something, anything, but just couldn't find the words. His throat felt glued shut, while the silence slowly strangled him further. To his own surprise, he felt almost relieved when he heard them speak again, just so he wouldn't have to.
So just to confirm and clear up any and all confusion, our stance on you calling in is...
The three voices said expectantly, Don't?
Great. Glad we're on the same page.
A now singular voice, although still nearly clearly male or female, cheerfully chimed. Here's a tip. Don't be such a grumpy dick. Let people like the songs we tell them to like, and move along. Now, take care and Zenth bless. Wait, who? Daryl tried to ask when the line went dead again. He leaned back in his chair. He fought to catch his breath, feeling as if he'd run a mile. His eye caught sight of the messages that asked about Mike's disappearance on the channel's app. Many of them posted in the second after he had vanished. Then, within the blink of an eye, all negative comments had been washed away. In their place, more praise for Axiom popped up, including a link to the site for their upcoming album. The commercial break ended, and Leslie Meyer of the 7 a.m. Morning Beat popped onto the air.
Hey listeners, this is Leslie Meyer here. I'll be joining you for the rest of the show while we take a new approach. Up next is a song for our last caller, Daryl, which I have on good authority that this is a personal favorite of his. Here's Axiom with Feel the Ice. Enjoy.
The song began with that weird high-pitched note, drenched in auto-tune, that lingered way too long, echoed through Daryl's room. Then came the off-tone moans of lead singer Sam Wax, droned out through the speakers, grinding down on Daryl's eardrums like a drill on iron. Normally, he would have switched it off. It had been ages since he'd gotten this far into the track on his own volition. I could learn to like this, Daryl thought to himself, although he was fully aware that he hadn't any choice in the matter.
You've been listening to the Night's End podcast, which is a production of Dissonance Media. On the Air was written by Joachim Heijndermans, who is a writer and artist from the Netherlands. His work has been featured in a number of publications, most recently with the New Accelerator, Black Hair Press, and Ahoy Comics. Head over to joachimheijndermans.com for more. Narration was performed by Jess Carrier, with extra voices performed by Jess Carrier. Eric and Jess are co-hosts of the Prairieland Paranormal Podcast, where their fascination for all things weird and strange is translated into a podcast where they share some of their own experiences and some of the interesting folklore, myths, legends, and haunted places prevalent throughout the Midwest, all while broadcasting from a creepy cornfield in central Illinois. Just search Prairieland Paranormal Podcast where you get your podcasts, or head to prairielandparanormalpodcast.com. Jimmy Horrors was performed by James Barnett. The Radio was performed by Alexis from the Wine and Weirdos podcast, which is a spooky little podcast where co-hosts Alexis and Sam talk about cryptids, ghosts, and all things creepy. Search for Wine and Weirdos podcast wherever you get your podcasts, or head to wineandweirdospodcast.wordpress.com. This episode was edited and produced by James Barnett. All links are in the show notes. And as always, stay horrific, everyone.